We have 7 people starting, new employees starting from 2 days ago up until 2 weeks out from now. So that is
Wow.
just like, dude, that's fucking nuts. It's
I want to say congratulations.
Go ahead,
I want
Adam.
to say congratulations, but knowing what it's like to hire and onboard new people, I don't know if it's a congratulations or my sympathies, but we definitely can relate to that.
I know. And I'm doing all the HR stuff. So, you know, interviewing, right? Tons and tons of interviews. It's just like, it's wild.
We've been doing a ton of interviews, and some of the tricks that we've been doing, as an example, we have people upload a recording with their job resume when they so let's say somebody applies on Indeed. What we'll do is we'll kick them an auto message through an automation to fill out another form where we can get more granular data, and then we ask them to submit an audio recording. And we find that listening to the audio recording helps us just weed out a lot of people that just can't communicate well. And if you're going to be doing any type of phone work with us, whether that be sales, client services, intake, you have a good phone voice, and you gotta have to communicate well. And we found that helps us narrow down.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah. One of the things that we've learned is, the more friction, the greater the level of commitment. The less friction, the less level of commitment. And it's both in terms of leads and also in terms of interviewees. The more work people have to do in order to get their foot in your door, the more motivated it shows that they are for the job. The problem is that when we're in a challenging job market, which I think we're still in, it seems like maybe we're coming out of it a little bit, but people very often aren't willing to take all those steps. But we have a pretty robust hiring process, having been doing this, remote hiring for now almost 5 years since the pandemic. The majority of the hires that we onboard now are working remotely, and having cycled through so many people. I'm not even talking about candidates. I'm talking about employees who either flaked out or we flaked them out, if you know what I mean, after a relatively short period of time. We've tried to make our hiring process a little bit more robust. All of that being said, I'm also of the school of thought that you don't really know till you know. And you can spend hours or days with somebody in the hiring process, and until they actually work for you for a given period of time, you're just never really going to know how they perform. So it's a balance. One of the things that I picked up from the closing room is this idea of the 3-day, they call it a 96-hour test. We do it over the course of 3 days, and we do this specifically for non-attorney salespeople. And we pay them for that time. So at least hopefully that reduces a little bit of the friction when we tell them, all right, well, this is going to be a 7 to 10 day process of interviewing and being qualified for the job. But we will pay you once you get over a certain number of hurdles, the initial screen with our HR person, filling out that form and all the rest. We do have them do a 3-day, and it's not 3 full days. We give them a script, and then we have them meet with one of our people for an hour a day for 3 days, over a course of 3 days. And we see, how quickly they can pick up the material and how articulate they can be in that process and what it's like to work with them. And we pay them for that regardless. They get $150 for participating in that. And they know that going into it. So one, we try to be very clear about what the process is beforehand. We give them a sort of a step-by-step, almost like a timeline. This is what the process looks like. We're going to do A, B, C, D. And once you get to this point, you're going to be paid for it. We're going to do that. And then, at the end, we're going to ultimately make a decision. But yeah, people there's drop off at every part of the process, literally from the initial submission all the way through, and sometimes even including the first day of work. So, definitely learned a lot from Joey Coleman about strong onboarding and how much to focus on in the first 90 days to try to head off what he calls new hire remorse. I forgot what the statistic is, but there's a very significant percentage of people that leave or are at least dissatisfied, or they have that remorse within the first 90 days. So what we've been trying to do is come up, The
Employee or
employee,
employer?
the employee, actually, yeah. So we're trying to come up not only with a more robust hiring protocol, but also a robust onboarding and training protocol, so that we not only ensure that they have what they need to get the training that they need, but what we learned from Joey is that that's just a small part of it. The other part of it is, how are we speaking to them and their needs as a person, as a human being, as an employee. And so we've started including a whole host of different things that we're trying to delight them with when they start, so that it heads off that new hire remorse factor that he talks about.